Well, welcome back to the Ropes Family Podcast. We're going strong. We're getting it going, and we're keeping it going. So today we're going to be talking about let your light shine. And so, Courtney, what is light?
Light is a natural agent that stimulates sight and makes things visible.
Is that from Webster's?
Of course.
Way to go, Webster's.
Every week.
Way to go, Webster's. Donovan was telling us he has this dictionary it's gigantic. Very small letters in it, so you have to use a magnifying glass to read the dictionary. I don't know. It's just one of those things that, of course, Donovan would have is a dictionary like that. But moving on, we're talking about let your light shine. And so what is light? Light shines light on things, right? But I want to ask the question, what is our light? And I want to read this passage in Matthew chapter 5. It's in the Sermon on the Mount. This is Jesus talking. It's Matthew 5:14. It says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lampstand and put it under a basket, but on a stand. And it gives light to all of the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." So what our light is Jesus. Okay? And we're going to kind of break down this whole passage here a little bit. Our light is Jesus, and so people see Jesus through us. And the other main point is we should not keep this light for ourselves. We should let it affect those around us. Here's a question. I got a good question. How do we let our light shine? Our light, which is Jesus, how do we let that shine?
Just every day? Or in a certain place? Just all the time?
Are you asking me?
What are you asking?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I didn't realize it was
how
a
do
question.
I answer
I
that?
thought you were just answering like,
No.
every day we light our light. I was like, okay, good
You're
Sunday
like,
school
all right,
answer.
thank you. No.
How do we let our light shine? Where do we start? There's daily things that we can do. There's, like we talked about a couple weeks ago in the missions podcast, like we let our light shine in Jerusalem and Judea and all of the earth or whatever. Where do we start with letting our light shine?
Well, the basic stuff is how we act in public or how we respond to people who are different than us or do wrong to us in our eyes. If a waiter gets your order wrong and you're hateful and demeaning, and that's not letting your light shine. But if you're like, that's okay, I prefer it that way, and they fix it and it's all good to go, then that is showing them grace, which is showing Jesus. My mom was telling me that she helped an elderly man the other day at Walmart unload his groceries. And he said, "Wait, you must be a Christian." She was like, "Yeah."
Didn't she share that on the podcast?
Did she?
Yeah, she said that on the podcast.
Oh, well then same thing.
Yeah.
Again.
Great. I mean, yeah, that's definitely letting her light shine. Like that man knew that she was a Christian because of the way that she...
Just for offering to help him.
Yeah.
Not even a huge thing.
And it just kind of takes intentionality too, So how do we let our light shine? Jesus, he gives us the answer, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but they put it on a stand. So we let our light shine by putting it on a stand. We make it, our stand is our life. Okay, so we make it we put it in a place to where it affects those around us.
It's obvious.
Yeah, the light is obvious. You can see a light on in a dark place, right? No matter how far away, you can kind of see a light if it's bright enough, right? So we make it obvious. We put it on a stand so it can affect those around us. And
in this world, everything seems dark and depressing. And if we are a bright enough light, there's something to hold on to.
And it's a big deal to share that light. We don't put it under the basket of ourselves. So just kind of hold it for ourselves so we can have the light. We're supposed to put it on a stand. I keep saying putting it on a stand, but
that's a good point. I mean,
we don't want to just keep it in for ourselves. Yeah. That's the point. We need to make sure everyone around us is affected by that light, and we do that by being intentional We intentionally put it on the stand, and not hide it.
I think about it a lot am I someone that people look at and know I'm a Christian? Or do they look at me and have doubts?
Yeah. Well, maybe she is. I can't really tell.
Sometimes she seems like it. There's not so much.
I mean, and that's a tough one, because we're not perfect people
Right.
all the time.
A friend in college said she put a Jesus sticker on the back of her car to make her behave, because she said, if it says Jesus on the back of my car, I can't act like a non-Jesus lover. I have to act like I love Jesus. And so I put it back there to hold myself accountable.
Bumper stickers keep you accountable. Hopefully.
That's what Haley said,
Another way that we can let our light shine Jesus kind of answers it as well, is so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. So a lot like how Kim was talking about how when she helped the man at the grocery store, that man saw her good works and knew that it was Jesus working within her. So intentionally doing good works in the name of Jesus. And sometimes we do good things just to make ourselves feel good, or to maybe even relieve the guilt we feel, helping the homeless guy, so I help him so I don't have to feel guilty about not helping him. Instead, we need to point that to Jesus, like Jesus gave me this $5 so I can give this $5 to somebody else. And it's not about me. It's not about relieving my guilt or making me feel good. Letting our light shine is about pointing people to Jesus.
And on that note, we talked in one of them about like being an example to people by helping the homeless or whoever we need to help. And we were at a store the other day, and a guy came up to my sister and I and wanted money. Of course, we don't carry cash. So we're like, well, do you need anything in the store? Do you want to come in with us? We'll buy you groceries. And he was hungry, and he was like, would you buy me lunch? Of course we will. I mean, that's not, but then it got me to thinking, was I doing that to honor Jesus, or was I like, oh, hey, crown, jewel, thank you.
Thank you. I'll
It was,
this.
it was an interesting feeling and got me to thinking.
And people are kind of wired that way, to try to make themselves look good. The hard part is turning it and making sure the glory goes to Jesus and not us, and it's hard because Jesus lives inside us. And when we let our light shine, when we let Jesus' light shine, some of that light's going to shine on us,
right?
But pointing the attention and the glory to God is the important part to that.
Why we do it.
Yeah.
I know we're the ones doing it, but here's why. I think for our kids and for teenagers, because I've been a teenager, I don't work with them, but how do they, act with their friends? Are they partying and gossiping and doing all the things? They're like, wait, I thought you went to church over there, but you're willing to act like this? And I think even my kids, as young as they are, I'm like, how you act when you're not at church is just showing everyone what you really are, who you really are, and you're not glorifying God by behaving like this.
In high school, I hung out with a rough bunch of friends, which was kind of cool because I didn't really participate in the things that they did. I was around them, so I kind of got associated with some of the things. But my main goal hanging out with those kids was, I'm just going to be a little bit of light of Jesus to them as much as I can. I'm not going to participate in the things they're doing. I'm not going to talk like they do, but I'm going to hang out with them and be their friend. And that was a little bit of like me being able to make friends, but also me trying to be a light. And did that work? I don't know. They definitely gave me a little bit of a hard time, like, oh, Josh, you're the Jesus kid, and which was great. It was a good compliment, but sometimes I'm like, what if I do mess up, but I'm the Jesus kid? How am I? And so you've got to represent the light within you well. And so and I think that's one thing I've told the kids downstairs in the basement in youth. I know I say downstairs a lot. I'm talking about youth group downstairs in the basement. I said, you may be the only version of Jesus somebody sees that day, because his light is within us. And so we need to make sure we take that seriously. If we're acting a fool one day, and people know that you're a Christian, that's going to look poorly on Jesus, you know.
Right.
And of course, like, we know that there's grace in that, but you know, sometimes people don't understand that. And so one bad Christian reflects all of Christianity.
Right.
And it gives people that don't want anything to do with the church, it gives them a way to get out. Like, oh, I don't want to be a part of those people. You know, all those people are the same. You know, they're all
Hypocrites.
yeah.
How many times
hypocrites.
have we been called that?
Yeah. I mean, and we all are sometimes.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, we're not perfect by any means.
Yeah, we all are. But that's the point of grace.
Well, we've kind of talked about non-church people. I'm putting that in quotes, you know, or people that have come to church for a long time and then leave because they've been hurt or because, you know, they want to do something else on Sundays or whatever. I think how we react to them too is a big, you know, that shows our light or it doesn't.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah, it could go either way. Yeah, like we're kind of talking about one of our listeners that's actually not a church member. Thanks for listening, and hey, Mom.
And thanks for saving us on the side of the road, Danny.
Yeah, Danny and my mom. They asked a question about what was the exact question? I can't remember.
He was asking like how to get back into church once you haven't been going.
Yeah, and kind of facing the music of that's the church. That how do you get past how do you get past the people?
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me, we were talking about it earlier, of the story of the prodigal son. You know, so you have the father and the two sons. One son, you know, comes to the father and says, "Give me all my inheritance." And the father said, "Okay." And then he gives it to him, and the son goes off and squanders it. You've got to read the whole story. But then he goes and squanders it, and then he realizes he's lost everything, and he doesn't know anything. He has nothing to do. He's on the verge of death. So he goes back to his father and says he's going to tell his father, "Just make me a servant, just so I can have something to eat." And the father is watching for him to come home. And when the father sees him, he tells all of his servants, all of his people, to go and kill the fatted calf. My son has returned. But then there's the other son that was, "I've been here the whole time. You know, why don't I get the fatted calf? Why, you know, I never left. What about me? You know, we're celebrating this one that's come back." And so there's both of the people that we're talking about in the story, the person that hasn't come to church, and then the people that have been, they're both kind of represented in this story. But the thing is God still loves both brothers. God still wants, or the father still wants both brothers to be home. And you've got to kind of work past it. And I think that's what both brothers need to realize is, you know, the father loves both sons equally, regardless of the past or of their faithfulness. And so when you're coming back to church, realize that there's been people that have been here the whole time, but God's love is still the same for you as it is for them.
Well, like you said before, you said, you know, some people are going to be very excited you're back.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be not, but God he's the one who matters anyway. And he's so excited to have that person back. So it's going to be hard to work past, you know, or it might be hard to work past some of the people, but just know he matters and he's the one who's very happy to have you back.
Yeah. And your light is definitely affected by that. And so like the light that needs to be shown when people come back is the light of the Father.
Oh yeah.
Right. The light of excitement that you hear, the light of love, not the light of the brother And so if whatever role you're in this story, make sure the light of the Father is the one that you're shining, not the light of either brother, really.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the most important light that you can shine in this situation.
I think for do you have a family question this week?
I don't.
I was thinking, just does the way I act outside of church show Jesus to others?
That's a great family question. So,
Because for all ages, everybody is how I'm acting. You know, showing Jesus, shining my light.
how am I acting when I don't have the bumper sticker on?
Ooh, that steps on my toes.
Am I still acting right without the am I still letting God's light shine without the bumper sticker or the t-shirt on?
My WWJD bracelet.
Yeah. And so that's the family question. Let's repeat it one more time. Let's see. You want to repeat it one more time? Because you were more eloquent with it.
Sure. Does the way I act outside of church shine my light or shine Jesus's light or show Jesus to others?
It's a great question. I also kind of asked my kids this before when we were getting ready for school this morning. I said, Emerson, how are you going to let your light shine today? She's like, what light? Elliot said the same thing. What? and I used the example that you told me about our girls last week, that they went and sat with the little girl. I said, that's how you let Jesus's light shine on people. I want to challenge you to do that today. And she said, okay, Daddy, I'll try to figure out some way. And then Elliot started talking about something about Ninja Turtles or something. He was not on the same level. But yeah, just how can you let your light shine, even when people aren't looking? And how do we point people to God? That's your challenge for this week. All right. Thanks y'all for listening. We'll see y'all next week, or we'll talk to you next week. We're thinking about putting a video podcast together, but we're still doing just the audio for now. I don't really want to get pretty for a video.
It's me, actually. It's the problem.
It's me. Hi. You didn't know you were going to hear Taylor Swift.
Oh, whoa.
Sorry. That was bad. All right. Well, we will see y'all next week, or talk to y'all next week. Thanks for listening.